Hello and welcome to a new episode of Mostly Engineering and another part in our Enigma build series. Last time we did all our lathe improvements so that today we can cut all our pins more efficiently. And if you take a look at our rotor over here and take a look inside, we see all the pins we have to manufacture in order for the electrical connection to work. And there are quite a lot of them, 78 to be exact. And first we will start with the lower two rows. These pins are exactly the same and actually pretty straightforward parts. So basically just cut it to length and cut a shoulder on it and we are done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The only complication here is we need 52 of them. So how do we do it most efficiently? And the way I figured out, I hope it's the most efficient way, we will see, is I cut the round stock already to length of 2.5 centimeters, and then we will put it in the lathe and set our stops, indicate the diameter in, and cut the shoulder, take the part out, turn it around, cut another shoulder, and take the part out, put the next part on, until we have cut all 52 shoulders. Then we will divide the part in the middle and cut it to its correct length. Maybe not the most efficient way from a material point of view, but I think the most efficient way from time-wise. And time is a more valuable resource over here. But enough of the theory, so let's go over to the lathe and I show you what I mean in practice. So here we are at the lathe. We see we have two stops now, one for front and one for back. And I fixed the indicator height issue with just a simple extension piece for our measuring tip. And also I changed to a digital indicator because it's a little bit easier to read. So let's start and set up our machine. So here we have the depth. This is as far as I want to go with my tool towards our chuck. So let's set our stop here. Press it against it and then pull it tight, very nice. And then we back up the sled. And the depth we have to cut is 3.5 millimeters. So I just simply take a 3.5 millimeter gauge block, put it in here. For the other side, I have to puzzle a little bit because I only have one gauge block, 3.5 millimeters, but I mean, you can put them together to get your desired measurement. Put this in here, and then we just drive our sled against it, and here we have our 3.5 millimeters. And now we can set the back side. And before we do this, I put this little parallel in here. And then we press the indicator as a stop. Again here as well and pull it tight. The parallel is there so that when we have to do our zero cut, and the zero cut would be too much material to remove, we can remove our parallel, and so we can back up a little bit and take more than one passes for our zero cut. Very nice. Let's remove our gauge blocks. Back it off a little bit. Put this back in, and now we can put our part in. So very nice. Just pop it in here. Where's the second one? Yeah. And now we pull it tight and take our first cut. So this is our zero cut, very nice. Then we push or drill it against it. So this is just that we have a little bit easier job of the wiring. Normally you would do a center drill first, but I don't want to change tools every time. And second of all, my center drill is a little bit too big. And lastly, and this is the most important point, this hole doesn't really have to be in the center. So let's just go for it. Push it back, and now we can start to make our cuts. So I eyeball it so that we are on the edge. Sorry. Then we can set the machine. So let's check for a second. Yeah, we have a little bit to go. Check again. Yeah, one little pass. We want to cut a little bit under 2 millimeters. So maybe a 10th or so. Or not even a 10th of a millimeter. And now we are, yes, a little bit under 10th under 2 millimeters. So that's perfect. And now we say 0 origin. And yeah, now we have this measurement in, we have all the other measurements in. And the only thing to do now is deburr it a little bit and change for the other side. So all the way back up. And now we can take the second part. So first the 0 cut. All the way down. Then our hole. And now we can take the rest of the cuts. And now we are done. And you would agree probably that this is a lot faster. So now we just have 25 more to go. But again, with this setup, it doesn't take too much time. And here we have the finished part. So, and here we have our finished parts. Took us quite a while to machine them. I had to take lots of breaks in between because it's really repetitive work. And the risk of repetitive work is that at some point your brain just zones out and you lose focus. And that's when accidents happen, and it's really not a place you want to be while working on a lathe or similar machine. So take little breaks in between and stay safe. So the parts came out exactly as I expected them to do, so really happy about this. I did a little bit more so that we have spares in case we need them, and all we have to do now is cut them in the middle and then machine the final surface. So let's do this and go back to the lathe. Welcome back to the lathe, and here we have our parts now separated and the middle cut out. All that's left to do now is finish the last surface. And before we do this, let's set up our machine. So I already changed to a 2mm collet, and our cut should be 1.4 millimeters from the surface. So what we are simply going to do, we take a gauge block, put it against the surface, and now we drive our tool into it till it's touching, very gentle, and let's set our stop. And you saw by tightening the stop, our gauge block fell out. And this is exactly what we want to do, because just a very light touch and not damaging our gauge block or our tooling. So everything is ready to go now, and put our first part in. So let's back off. We push the part to the back, that it sits properly on our colored surface. And now we have to do very light and gentle cuts, because first we want a really nice nearly polished surface finish, and second of all, we don't want to put too much side pressure on the part, as it rests only on 2mm of material, and in this 2mm is still a 1mm hole, so this edge might be a little bit fragile. So light cuts, and then we shouldn't have any problems. So that sits tightly. Let's go. And the final polish. And our part is done. Very nice. So let's take it out. And here we have the finished parts, and the surface finish looks exactly as we want. Perfect. Now let's do the rest of it. And we finished all our 52 pins. They came out really nicely. So as you saw, the surface finish on the end are just perfect. So really pleased with it, but it took quite a while longer than I expected. That's also why the other pins will come in another video. So subscribe for that, stay in the loop, and probably one of the next videos. All in all, it took us about a full working day to produce all 52 pins. And that with all the efficiency you saw already in place. I don't want to think about how much time it would have taken if I had to measure every single part individually. Probably a week, something like this. I don't know. I don't want to know, to be fairly honest. But in the end, the pins came out really nicely. But when we start the Kickstarter campaign, probably March, April next year, and you can get your own Enigma rotor or set of rotors, I will probably outsource this process because it simply takes too much time, and in the end, too much time equals in a lot of money and needlessly increased prices. So outsourcing is probably the way to go here. And what I also want to say is this is the first project where I used the coil chuck, and I have to say, for holding such little pieces tightly and securely and with lots of ease, it's just perfect. It's worth every penny. So if you have this work, definitely recommend it. For our work situation, I will see in the future and let you know. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, comments, as always, let them down below, and I try to answer them as quickly and correctly as possible. And all that is left to say now is thanks for watching, and see you at the next time. Bye bye.